Chapter 7, Mishnah 1. We have learned that a mikveh must contain 40 sa of water that gathered naturally and not by means of a container. Naturally gathered water is called rainwater, in contrast to water that was once inside a container, which is called she'uvin, literally drawn water. She'uvin is not only unfit for a mikveh, but it can even disqualify a mikveh. If she'uvin measuring at least 3 lugan is added to a deficient mikveh, i.e. a mikveh that does not yet have the required 40 sa of rainwater, it makes the rainwater already there invalid. No matter how much rainwater is added later, the mikveh remains unfit for use. However, once a mikveh contains the required 40 sa, it is a valid mikveh, and can never be disqualified by the addition of she'uvin. The next two Mishnahs teach about substances that are similar to water, but most of them affect the mikveh differently than water does. These substances belong to 3 categories. The Mishnah first lists the 3 categories, then gives examples of each one. We now turn to the words of the Mishnah. A. There are substances that complete a mikveh and do not disqualify it. These substances are more beneficial than water in the following manner. When they are added even from a container to a deficient mikveh, they count toward the first 40 sa, and they certainly do not disqualify the mikveh. B. There are substances that disqualify a mikveh and do not complete it. These substances are like water. When they are added after being inside a container to a deficient mikveh, they disqualify it, she'uvin, and certainly do not count toward the first 40 sa. C. And there are substances that do not complete a mikveh and do not disqualify it. These substances do not change the status of a mikveh in either direction. When they are added, either in their natural state or after being inside a container to a different mikveh, they neither count toward the first 40 sa nor disqualify the mikveh. The Tana gives examples of substances that belong to the first category, which count toward the first 40 sa of a deficient mikveh and certainly do not disqualify the mikveh. These substances complete a mikveh and do not disqualify it. Snow, hail, sleet, ice, salt, and liquid mud. As forms of water, they can help to fill a mikveh. However, in contrast to actual water, they cannot become disqualified as she'uvin. Thus, even if they are poured directly from a container into a deficient mikveh, they complete it and certainly do not disqualify it. Before moving on to the next 2 categories, the Mishnah records further opinions about the first category. According to the previous Tana, snow can complete a mikveh, but Rabbi Yishmael disagrees. Rabbi Akiva said, Rabbi Yishmael argued with me, saying snow cannot complete a mikveh. According to Rabbi Yishmael, snow does not count toward the first 40 sa of a mikveh. The Mishnah records a different version of Rabbi Yishmael's opinion. However, the people of Meidva testified in Rabbi Yishmael's name that he said to them, Go and bring snow and make a mikveh from the beginning. That is, Rabbi Yishmael told them to make a mikveh entirely out of snow. According to the Tanna Kama of our Mishnah, snow, hail, sleet, and ice do not disqualify a mikveh even if they had been inside a container, she'uvin. The next Tana disagrees. Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri says, hailstones are like water. That is, hailstones as well as snow and other forms of frozen water are like water in every way. The Tanna Kama gives an example of how the substances of the first category, snow, hail, etc., complete a mikveh. How do they complete a mikveh and not disqualify it? What is an example of this process? If a mikveh contains 40 sa'as less 1, i.e. 39 selah, and 1 sa'a, i.e. 39 sa'a, and 1 sa'a of these substances fell into it, even from a container, it completes the mikveh. Thus, we find that they complete a mikveh and certainly do not disqualify it. A sa'a, 24 lugan, is much larger than the 3 lugan necessary to disqualify a mikveh, and still, if a sa'a of these substances is poured from a container into a mikveh that is missing a sa'a, it completes the mikveh and does not disqualify it.